here, let's come all the way down so you're on the floor, on your belly. If you have stenotic concerns or have been diagnosed with stenosis of the lumbar spine, this is a place where having a small cushion or small pillow right under your belly, under your hips, can be very helpful and supportive and safe. From here, let's place our hands right next to our shoulders, elbows pointing towards the ceiling. Good. There you go. Feel long through your spine so your forehead is hovering just above the floor, and just walk your feet away from yourself for a moment. Now on the next inhale, prepare, and on the exhale, press the heel of the hand into the floor. Let the elbows reach towards your back pocket, and imagine that your breastbone is trying to look forward at the wall in front of you. And then on the inhale, slowly come back down. So this is an articulation and opening of the upper part of the spine that is forward when we're sitting in couches and at computers all day. So as we come up, feel that your belly and your lower ribs are still in contact with the floor. And inhale as you come down. It's very tempting to let the movement reach down into the lumbar spine right away, but we're trying to open up a part of the spine and the ribs that tend to exhale and come up. Elbows reaching for your hips. Inhale as you lower back down. And one more time. And press your hands into the floor. Feel the elbows reaching for the heels. Notice how the breastbone and the heart is looking forward. Your neck feels long. Pause right here. See how it feels to take one hand or two hands away from the floor. Hold it there. And then place them back onto the floor and lower. And you can continue just like that. Exhale as you come up. And if you want, you can take your hands off and reach forward. Reach forward, reach forward, reach forward. And you can bring your hands right back and lower down. And you can also choose to keep your hands 2 more times right on the floor to encourage more movement. So pick your movement that feels just right for you. And bring the hands back. Inhale on the way down. And one last time, lift up and away. Pause at the top of the movement. Feel long through the crown point, long through your sit bones. Place your hands on the floor and lower back down. At this point, place your hands on top of each other and rest your forehead right onto your hands. So I will talk you through this so you don't have to twist and look at the camera too much. At this point, go ahead and elevate and lift the left leg away from the floor and place it right back to the floor. And try the same with the right. And as you continue to do this, just that one little movement, begin to envision where this movement arises from. If you feel it in your low back, you're probably, we'll change it a little bit. We don't want to feel it too much in the low back. You want to feel this at the back of the hip, the back of the thigh. So if you envision the hip joint and the femoral head in the socket in the acetabulum, can you imagine that as you raise one leg, so say you're raising your right leg, as the knee comes away from the floor, the head of the femoral head glides forward down to the floor like a seesaw. So allowing that movement of the femoral head in the socket to glide down towards the floor, towards the front of your body, and as you lower, it glides back to the center. So keep the movement going a few more times, sort of envisioning what's happening inside your hip joint. If you allow that glide, if your tissues soften around the joint, then you need a lot more strain to try to lift something away from the floor. So imagining what's happening inside the joint as you are engaging the tissues around. Couple more times. And as you do that, begin to now feel that as you're raising, say, your left leg, that you're actually feeling the movement and the support starting around the right shoulder girdle, the whole, the oblique, the posterior oblique chain and sling across the body and lower. And when you raise the right leg, all the way across. So feel this diagonal support. So this is not lifting a leg. This is your whole body supporting as you're elevating. All right, now as you go to the left leg, next time you're raising your left leg, pause at the top and then cross your left leg over the right and keep crossing so you get a nice opening. You can let the left side of the pelvis come away from the floor. Feel the opening and the lengthening of the hip flexors and the whole front of the hip. Inhale at the top of the movement and slowly spiral yourself back until your pelvis is flat on the floor, and then lower the leg to the floor and try with the right. Raise the right leg, reach across the left, Reach behind. The right elbow remains on the floor. So your right elbow is directing in one direction. Your right heel and leg is directing in the opposite direction of the same diagonal. Slowly spiral your ribs back to the floor. Keep your leg elevated, keep it elevated, keep it elevated. And when you're square on the floor, lower again. One more time on each side. Left leg up and reach across. Allow your breath to be soft. Allow your breath to be comfortable and not forced in any way. And then slowly spiral yourself back at your own pace. And finally lowering the leg and the right side for the last time. Reach across, reach and lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. And slowly spiral yourself back to the floor. Good. From there, turn so you're on your left side. Good. Lying on your left side, there you are. And if you need something under your head, do you usually have something under your head for this? Is it time? Okay. All right. Good. All right. So let's start with a book opening in this. So we're still in the opening and letting the tissues release and opening for just a moment longer. So in this position, feel the position of your body on the side. And imagine that if you were lying on the back, you would have the neutral curvature of the spine, which means that some of us bring our head a little bit forward. So you can bring the back of the head back just a little bit. There you go. So that the back of the head, the back of the shoulders, and the back of the pelvis form a line, a form as if you were up against the wall. There you go. So the book opening, the version we're going to go do today, knees are slightly bent, hips are stacked, knees are stacked, shoulders are stacked. Begin to let the arm, the top arm, get a little bit longer than the lower one. So begin to allow your body to rotate forward just a little bit. And then reverse that. So let the fingertips glide up the inside of the arm. And as you reach your body with your fingertips, then begin to let the trunk turn, trunk turn, trunk turn. There. So the breastbone is trying to look to the ceiling. And once you feel as open as you are, then you can extend your arm to the side. And on the next breath, then feel that you connect the ribs to the front so you can begin to connect your deep abdominal wall. And then send your hand back to your shoulder. And by way of the trunk, slowly roll back. And again, a little bit longer and continue. So let your fingertips glide up the inside. Feel how your shoulder blades begins to release along the back side of the rib wall. Thoracic spine opens and turns. Arm opens to the side. Look towards the thumb. And on the next inhale, connect to the front. Bring your hand to the shoulder. Close the trunk and slowly glide forward. And a little bit longer than the arm. And one more time, glide up the arm. Making sure that what moves is not so much your arm, but it's really your trunk. It's your thoracic spine, it's your ribs. You can feel the opening, the smile, the broad smile across the front of your chest and your collarbones. And once you feel open this time, pause here. Take a breath or two. And then see if you can expand the space between your shoulder blades, between your shoulders, between your elbows, wrists, fingers, fingertips. And see if you can get that sense, if you can increase the sense of your wingspan. If you get a gentle, gentle ache in your tissues, that gentle fascial and neural tissue opening and release, that is just great. And on the next breath, release that, connect the ribs in the front, bring your hand to the shoulder, and roll back and home. Good. All right. From there, bring your left hand, or your hand under your head, so you know how head and hand. There you go. Good. And let's open the right knee into a little clamshell. And just a couple of times in this position, notice your sense of motion, your range of motion, or how this hip feels today, because they don't always feel the same day to day. They certainly don't feel the same side to side. And key here is that point is not to open your knee to look to the ceiling so that your body rotates back. Keep your pelvis aligned and open just as much. So this is your true reading of your hip mobility today. Then next time you open your right hip, place your right foot or your foot right behind. So the top foot is right behind the lower foot. And then for a moment, see if you can create a sense of softness in around the tissues. It comes from the inside. You have to sort of say, here I am, and I'm allowing the femoral head again to soften in and around the joint. And then when you have that, imagine a string on the outside of the knee and the thigh. reaching or pulling a little bit or drawing the leg to the back side of the room. Pause in that position, and once again, bring attention to how much softness you can bring into the hip area. So hip, there you go. And then on your breath out, release, oops, send the string back and draw back towards the room, the back side of the room. So 3 times total. Once you're there this time, pause again, one more time, relax in and around the hip, and see if you can almost feel that the femur begins to sort of glide down. You have to, imagine it a little bit, but you can also create that sensation in your body. And one last time, let the knee glide to the back of the room. You can use the opposite knee as opposition towards the floor, and you'll notice that you might create some movement in your hip into external rotation that wasn't there a little bit, few minutes ago. And now let your knee return back to the floor, and then open. And just enjoy that newfound range of motion for a moment. Good. And the next time your top knee is on top of the lower, extend both legs. This time, turn the top leg so the toes are pointing up. There you go. So you're on your side. I will be in this position just so you can see me here behind, but your top leg is turned out. Let the toe glide to the knee. Extend the leg to the ceiling and reach long as you're lowering to the floor. Good. And again, glide to the ceiling, extend and lengthen. 2 more times, drawing and extend to the ceiling and reach long. And 1 more time. And reach, and keep the length, keeping even longer, keep reaching through the hip, through the sit bone, through the heel to get longer. Now reverse, extend, keeping the leg extended, reach to the ceiling, fold at the knee, point your toe towards your knee, and glide down along the shin bone. And lift, and lower, and glide. 2 more, lift, and find the knee. And glide, and breathe in there, and there, and long. Very nicely done. Slightly bend both knees and come up onto your elbows if you're comfortable doing so. If you have a shoulder that feels cranky, if you've had an injury to your shoulder, you can try it. You can also shift position back out, and you all know who you are, who have had either a rotator cuff or other shoulder or neck injury that sometimes renders this uncomfortable. But let's start for a moment. We're going to do this leg lift series. So elbow is directly under your shoulder. Make sure, often it starts here, but let's have it start right under your shoulder from the beginning. And then for a moment, that feeling of the balloon that fills up and lifts. So you just get that sense of your ribs raising and lifting themselves away from the floor, and slowly, slowly, slowly lower back down. And just a couple more times. That feeling of lifting and lengthening, the sense of creating length in your spine, a line from your crown point upward, through your spine, through your tailbone. And then when you release, let it be mindful. Let it be safe for your body to go in that direction. And notice what it takes to go really, really slowly. Try the same 1 more time and try to go really as slowly as you possibly can. So if you fill, see how it feels. See what happens in your body when you fill and lift and lengthen. Fill and lift and see if you can keep finding places that can unfold, that can expand, that can lengthen. How your head ends up just in the center, as if it was right between your shoulders and along top of your spine. And then when you release, go really, really slowly and just notice how your body instinctively knows how to release a little bit at a time if you give it time and mindfulness. This time, reach up again 1 more time, feeling long, feeling how your ears are lifting themselves away from the shoulders. Send your top leg long, and if you wish, you can have both legs long, but send the top leg long, flex the ankle, and lifting 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now circle 1, make sure if you look down and just circle, if it's in front of your legs, in front of your body rather, see if you can have half of it feel as if it's behind you. And 7 and 8, revert, reach back and forward and reach and circle. Every once in a while, check your shoulder, keep your trunk and body very still. And 2 more, circle, and here. Pause right here, leg is flat, it's parallel to the floor. Fold at the hip and 2 small pumps forward. Point your toes and to the back. And pump, pump, and sweep through. 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 Trying to keep it in the hip, trunk and body stay still. And 2 more, and sweep through. And the last, and sweep through, and gently lower your leg down, bend your knees. Good. All right. From here, we can do a little bit of a plank. You have choices. We can either do the full plank. You can also, which we will go through in a second, you can also have a hand in front, the top hand in front, and you can choose a plank that looks a little bit more like you're supporting, but you're using your knees to roll over. You can also choose to sit up and do a little bit of plank this way, which is slightly easier on the shoulder yet. So try one of those 3 versions, the first one being the plank we're gonna go through now. So you are on your elbow, lengthening your legs. You can have both feet right on top of each other or one in front of the other. And if you have it in front, I would have the top foot in front of the hind foot. There you go. Lift yourself, stabilize your shoulder, just like we did before. And then an inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, press your body up into a side plank and pause right here for a moment. And inhale as you lower back down. And again, exhale up and away. And inhale back down. And you can continue that 2 more times, or you can choose the other version. You keep going with plank like that and lower back down. Or you can be sitting up and lift up again, pause and lower back down. Come one last time, lifting up into your plank version. Pause right there. And you can either hold it for a moment, or you can try to lift the leg and lower it and lift. And 3 and 4 and lower your body right down. Come all the way up to sitting, facing knee. Facing this way. There you go. All right. Legs in front of you towards me. Hold on to your ankles, so just kind of lightly hold on to your ankles and find a position that's comfortable. If it is hard to sit, if you're ending up in this position, you might want to have a little bit of a cushion underneath you so you can find a position where you're really on top of your sit bones and comfortable to start. Once you're here, begin by just letting your body lengthen and open towards the back side, feeling that your area between your shoulder blades becomes wider and open. And then keeping the C curve, gently draw yourself over your hips and find a place where you can lengthen your spine. So letting your shoulders relax, feeling the length through the crown point, finding the curvature in your spine, that would be your neutral curves. And then slowly starting at the bottom of the spine, as if you're slowly rolling right behind the sit bones, letting the pelvis release, and then opening, feeling the back of the body opening, and then glide forward and lift up tall. Good. And 2 more times, gliding to the back. Inhale as you roll up and forward. Use the little support of your hands on your ankles to lift yourself through, making sure that you're not flaring at the end, but you're still feeling connected to the front of the spine, the back of your spine. And one last of these. And roll up and sit up tall. Good. Rock yourself over onto your sit bone on the one side, and then rock yourself over to the sit bone on the opposite side, and just find that place. So when you're on top of your sit bone, it's sort of as if you're standing on one leg. So finding that place. You can also roll all the way so that your leg is on the floor, and the leg is on the floor, and the leg is on the floor. There you go. And the next time your left leg or your right leg, doesn't matter which one is on the floor, pause there and lift your spine. So feel the length of your spine, just like you did when you were sitting up tall. And then glide to the opposite side. And once you're there, lengthen and find all the length you can in your spine. And again, roll. This time when you feel really long, pause right there. See how it feels to take one arm away. And see how it feels to take the other arm away. And then see how it feels to take both arms away and hold it right there, feeling tall through the spine, through the crown point, trying to find a little lift through the mid and upper spine. And then bring your hands back to your feet and try the same to the opposite side. And lengthen. And once there, let one arm away and lower. Let the other arm away and lower. And see if you can keep the length. Now here's the key. I'd rather you let go, you keep the length of your spine and you go this far, than you go this far and lose it all in your spine. So find your length, that's the key. Letting one arm go and the other and see if you can hold it. But only go to where your body is comfortable and where you really can keep the shape and the form of your spine. And roll back. Well done. Let's come to our side, this time lying on the right side. Come all the way to the floor. Good. Starting with the book opening. So both hands are in front of us. And if you need a little something under your head, that's just fine. Knees are slightly more bent. So you have a nice position of your neutral spine. Head is a little bit back. And you feel tall through the crown point. Good, that's it. Start by gently let your body roll to the front, almost as if you're rolling, you're spiraling from the inside a little bit forward, just to get started. And then on the next inhale, let your body glide, fingertips along the inside of the arm, open and release towards the outside. Good. Keep your chin a little bit close. That's it. So one point that's important here is that the arm doesn't fall behind the midline of the body. So if you go from your armpit to your hip, that would be your midline of the side of the body. That's how wide your arm should go to protect the shoulder. What opens and turns is your trunk and your thoracic spine. As long as you're open there, the arm can go with it. Now connect to the front and slowly close and return. Roll to the front and just get a little bit of length and then glide along the inside. Let your breath and your movement find each other, open across. And where your trunk goes, where your ribs go, where your body turns to, that's where your arm will go. There you go. That's it. And then the next inhale, bring your hand to your shoulder and slowly glide to the front and let your trunk lead. And one more time. Inhale, glide to the back. Let the movement feel the shoulder blade glide to the back. Feel the ribs opening. Feel the ribs and the thoracic spine opening. And make sure the arm doesn't fall behind the body. At this point, pause for a moment and expand the wingspan so you really feel that length coming from the inside. Again, allowing the tissues to open. And if you create a gentle aching sensation towards the end of the tissues, that's great, and breathe into that for a moment. And then soften, connect the ribs again, glide back. There you go. And either have a pillow or now your hand under your head once again. Good. Clamshell for a moment, or hip opening. So it's just a really nice way to open our hips up. And we sit so much that I think hip openers are going to be an important topic in the next weeks. So go ahead and keep your ankles, the feet together, but let your knee come to the ceiling into a clamshell and just check your body out. So check out in terms of your hip mobility and lower, and just a few times for yourself at your own pace, open and close, just noticing what does my body feel like today on this side, and noticing that the rest of the body stays nice and still. Good. And the next time you're open, pause there, place the foot behind, so the top foot behind the lower foot, and then take a moment, that feeling of softness inside the hip. Allow the whole hip to soften. And when you have that sensation, the sense of drawing towards the back room as if there was a little resistance, so go ahead and draw towards, there you go. Good. And when you have that position, resist the temptation to let go and have the leg flop back. Just leave it right where you get to. And so once again, that softening, the sensation of the femoral head getting to glide back down into the joint. So rather than stretching tissues apart, where joints are not necessarily in the optimal congruent position, see if you can soften in towards the joint, allowing the joint to be in a position so now the tissues all of a sudden know exactly what to do to release. And then draw to the back again. So it's a different technique of creating movement around a joint. You can either take 2 points and pull them apart and hope it stays, and it'll all sort of maybe boomerang back, or you can release from the inside and find a way where your body feels safe in letting go, because you're no longer in danger of damaging tissues or damaging joint tissue. And you can just from there allow the tissues to release. And that's what will happen. One last time, knee drawing to the opposite direction towards the floor, so you're getting that sense of opposition, and then close back down. Good. And just a few times now, notice or feel your newfound motion. There's almost always a little change that occurs. It's a really nice feeling. It feels very productive. And if we could open joints and tissues in general with that mindset, it's a gentler way. It's a better way to invite ourselves into our bodies as opposed to trying to force a change upon from the outside, if that makes any sense. All right, the next time you come back to the center, go ahead and leave them there. Extend both legs. Turn your top leg so your toes are pointing to the ceiling. And then glide your toes up to the knee, extend to the ceiling, and reach longer, longer, longer as you lower the leg back down. Good. And make sure you're breathing through the whole cycle. So breathe in and reach and lengthen, 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 lengthen. And again, draw in and reach. Keep your ankle flexed as you reach through the sit bones and the heel. And then pointing your toe as you glide it up to the knee. And extend long. Reach, 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 reach. And extend long. And one more time, glide. And extend. And reach long. Now reverse. Lift. Bend your knee and glide long. And 2. And bend. And glide. And 3. And bend. And glide. And the last. And bend. And glide. And gently bend your knees. Good. Come on up onto your forearms and elbows if you are comfortable doing so. If not, feel free to at any point attain the position with your head in hand. Elbows directly under the shoulder, fingertips pointing forward. Make sure your hand is a little bit open, and make sure you feel the ground through your hand. Sometimes we end up back on the elbow. That's not comfortable. Use the whole front. If you're only on the back side of the elbow, you will have to create all the support through the back side of your body. If you use the middle and the front, you're creating support through the center and the front of the body as well. So using the whole side enables you to use your whole body to support. Lengthening and lifting and reaching length through the spine. Inhale as you lower. And exhale as you lengthen, feeling that lifting as if you're sending your elbow towards the floor, your opposite shoulder towards the ceiling, your crown point in one diagonal, your sit bones and your tailbone the opposite. So always this multiple dimension and release. And one more time, this time as you're tall and long, send your top leg long, flex your ankle, ready for leg lifts, lifting 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now circle 1. Look at your circle for a moment. Make sure that half the circle is behind you, half the circle is in front. And 7 and 8. Reverse 1 and 2 and breathe. And 4 and 5. Find yourself, catch yourself if your ribs begin to sag. And 7 and 8. Pause right here. Fold just at the hip. 2 little pumps to the front. Point your toes and sweep, long sweep to the back. 1 sweep to the back, 2 pumps to the front. And sweep. And pump, pump. And sweep. Trunk stays still. Ribs stay connected in the front. There, you're good. And down. and back, and keep still here, and 2 more, pump, pump. And so it's not about how far your leg goes, it's more about moving only through the hip. And the last time, feel really, really long, and pause. Good. Very nicely done. We have the plank. You have your choices. Oops. That's really bad.
Oh, maybe they're there.
Are you there?
Maybe if they're there.
Can somebody just chat in and tell me if you can see me? Catherine, your screen sharing. So if you turn that off. The one that's green on the bottom that says screen share. Catherine? Good, thank you. Are we back on? We're just checking that we're back on. I have a little button on my earpiece. If I touch it, the whole thing turns off. That's a terrible system. Are we good? Okay, great. Well, we don't get away from the plank that easy. So I'll try to not touch my earpiece. Sorry about that, folks. We are on our elbow, fingertips pointing forward, extending both legs, or you can have your knees bent. So the one version is one hand in front and lifting just your hips. Another version is coming up to your lifting from straight legs, of straight arm. And those of you who want to try the full plank, go ahead, feet on top of each other or front in front of the other. Inhale and exhale as you press into the floor, send your hip away, feeling that you're pressing into the floor with your elbow and forearm and from your ankles, and slowly lower your body back down. And 3 more times, send up and away, whichever version you chose, and inhale back. And 1 more time, send up and away, pause and lengthen, and lower. And on the next time, pause for a moment at the top. And if you're so inclined, try to lift your leg. You can even lift your arm. And 3, and 4, and lower your body back and relax. Good, come all the way to your back. Lie onto your back. For a moment, bring your knees to your chest. Hold on to your knees and just give yourself a little bit of a moment. We're finally on our back after all of this time. All right. Good. Place your feet on the floor. Arms along your side, feel long through the spine. Inhale, going into bridging, shoulder bridges. So imagining this piece of Velcro right along your spine. Place to start with your ankles and your knees and your feet so that they are parallel. And then inhale, press into your feet and slowly begin to peel off, starting at the tailbone, rolling up until you feel square on your shoulders. Inhale at the top and slowly let your body glide back to the floor. You can use the image of the Velcro. You can also imagine that you're on a beach. That would be a nice image for a day like today. And imagine that a wave comes under you and lifts your body a little at a time until it supports you all the way through your body. And then as the wave begins to roll away along the sand out to ocean, your body slowly, slowly, slowly conforms back to the sand on the ground. And inhale to start. Exhale as you feel length through your knees, length through your femurs. Reach your knees over your feet. And inhale at the top as you slowly lower back down. Good. One more time. Inhale. Exhale as you reach. Feel tall and long at the top. Good. Let your pelvis float just a little bit, or your sacrum float just a little bit up, and let your ribs drop just a tiny bit. Good. From here, let your heels come away from the floor. So lifting the heels up and lower the heels, and lift and lower and lift and lower and lift and lower, and remain there. And this time you're lowering your heels, but you're remaining in the bridge. Let your left side of your hip drop down towards the floor. And lift it up. And then let the right side drop to the floor. And inhale up. And let your breath be soft and continuous there. And lift up and lower. And when you're lowering, it's almost as if your right side is hanging off of your left side of your body, if you could imagine that. And then your left side down, and as if your whole left side is sort of getting to release away from the right side. One more time if you have it in to each side. And lift up, and the last. And lift, and then pause at the top, and slowly roll right back and down. Good. All right. Bring your hands up behind your head, interlace right under your head. Inhale, bring your chin towards your throat. Exhale as you roll up into chest lift, letting your eyes and gaze go in the direction of your knees. And inhale as you slowly roll back down. Good. And exhale, roll up and forward. And inhale, roll back down. On the next one, roll up and let your right elbow roll towards your left knee, and your left knee move towards your right elbow. And slowly roll and return to the floor. And the right knee, left elbow. Inhale as you roll back. Good. Again, chin first and roll. And roll to the floor. And left elbow, right knee. And roll to the floor. This time, let your head rest right onto the floor. Arc your arms down along your side and find your legs in 90-90, one at a time, one hand on top of each knee. Good. Bring your chin towards your chest, roll your body up and away from the floor, finding length through the crown point, holding right there. Keep that shape of your body. If you have osteoporotic concerns, you can do this whole movement with your head and your upper body on the mat. Inhale, let arms reach in one direction, double arm stretch, double leg stretch, and inhale as you circle back and home, and exhale out, inhale home, exhale out, bring it home, and two more, and home, and circle, and home. Pause right there and let your body gently glide to the floor. Good, one leg at a time. And let's do the 100. So we're going to bring one leg into 90-90, always one leg at a time, and the other leg. Good. You can choose, once again, you know who you are, if your head and upper body needs to remain on the floor, or you can feel long through your spine. You can let your arms float just above your floor. You can roll up to the 100 position. You can choose your legs extended, or you can choose your legs bent. And here we breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5. This is also a version. 4, 5, and out. 3, 4, 5. Or this is a version. Or this is a version. Or this is a version. So choose one that feels right for you. And in. 2, 3, 4, 5, and out. 4, 5, and in. 4, 5, and out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and in. 2, 3, 5, and out. 2 more times. 5 and out. Keep feeling long through the crown point. Keep your chin connected to your front of your neck. The last. 3, 4. And out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause right here. Lengthen your body a slight bit further and mindfully lower yourself. Bring your knees to your chest. Bring your knees to your chest and just get a little bit of relaxation there. Good. All right. Bring your legs back in 90-90 position, one at a time. Arms are along your sides, actually a little bit wider than the mat. And now let your knees glide to one side and then back to the center. And then over to my side. Now, if you are a person who find it difficult with this position on the floor in the 90-90, you can have a little cushion under your seat. There. Inhale on your way through. Exhale as the top knee and leg becomes long, reaching, so the right hip rolls over the left, and then the left rolls over the right. And as you return, see if you can find the movement where your movement starts under the shoulder and you're gliding, spiraling a little bit at a time. Good. And one more time to each side. And lengthen. And the last time. And return to neutral after this. Good. Place one foot on the floor and then the other foot on the floor. Reach out and grab your TheraBand or your scarf, whichever you have chosen. And place it under you. So let's say on the right foot, under the forefoot. There. There you go. Good. You need that. Yeah. So the left knee is bent. Right leg is straight. Elbows are on the floor. So you're holding on to either side of the band. So pause this for the leg up in this. Yeah, yeah. So elbow on the floor, leg is as straight as you feel comfortable. Good. So what you're obtaining here, let's just get you here, is not so much that you have tension through the band. It's more that you have some guidance and support. So a little bit of support. You don't want to hang in the band. You don't want to have tension. You want to be in between where your arms are sort of supporting the movement. So from here, reach up towards the ceiling as if your heel is reaching up. And what you're getting is a lengthening. And we find out when we have a little tightness at the back of the leg. And then soften your knee and just lower the band a little bit towards you. So press towards the ceiling and gently reach. You can imagine that you're carrying the weight of the building on your foot. And then you're just releasing a little bit. And the point is that it's less press and let go. It's more press and keep creating tension as you're lowering, as if you're going really slowly. So your tissues are involved in releasing and they're involved in expanding in both directions. The next time you're reaching towards the ceiling, pause right there, point your toes towards you and point towards the ceiling and alternate between the two. So through your ankle, point towards the ceiling. There you go. Feel long through your neck. Make sure you're breathing. And a few more times, just there you go. And the last time. Good. Pause right here. Now take the band both bands with your right hand and let your left arm be along your side. Extend your left leg along the floor. Now using your right hand, open to the side. There you go. And then inhale as you come to the ceiling. Switch the bands in the hand, right hand is along the side, and when you cross over, allow the pelvis to come away from the floor and roll back. When you open to the opposite side, bands are in the right hand, let the pelvis remain square on the floor. And inhale back. And exhale, reach and lengthen. Take your time. You may have a different pace. Your breath rhythm, your tissues release, you are at home. It doesn't matter what pace. Let your body and your breath and your movement all feel supportive of one another rather than one is the leader. And one last time. And cross, keeping the pelvis pretty still there. And then the last time crossing over. When you return to the center, pause there. And if you want, you can bring the left foot right into the band and just switch them over. You can switch them any way you want, any way that is good for you. And once you have your position, feel that the back of your ribs are touching the mat, so you're remaining in your neutral spine. And then send the whole leg towards the ceiling and release. And towards the ceiling and release. And again, reach. And that release that you're still bringing it back down. So you're feeling almost as if you're stuck at the ceiling and you're pulling your leg away. Maybe that's an image that can work better for some folks. And reach and slowly pull it back. And just one more time, reach long, point your toes towards the ceiling Point your toes towards you. Point your toes towards the ceiling and towards you. And again. And towards you. And the last time. And then go ahead and extend your right leg. Take both bands with your left hand. Right hand is along the side. Let the leg open to the side, keeping the pelvis square to the floor. Inhale as you reach to the ceiling, switch hands and cross over, this time allowing the pelvis to come away from the floor. Inhale as you circle back. And switch hands and open. And inhale, keeping your chin a little bit connected. There you go. There, and use your own. Once again, you may have a breath rhythm, a movement that's slightly different for the one right here. There. And the next time you return to the center, pause for a moment, bend your knee, bring both legs into 90-90, take your band off your foot, have it near you. We will use it in a moment. Both hands behind your thighs, right underneath your knees. Good. Send energy towards the foot end of the room, so you extend your arms. Let your chin come up. Yeah. Exhale as you roll up. And then inhale as you're sitting on top. Slowly roll to the back of the sit bones. And when it's time for your feet to come away from the floor, let them roll back. There you go. Inhale. Exhale as you send your legs away. Create tension or create length in your arms. And keep, as you exhale, keep sending pressure into your legs. So you just gently roll up and sit up tall. And roll to the back, finding the floor a little, as if you're guiding your spine from the front, a little at a time until you find the floor. And one more time, roll to the front, roll, 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 roll. You can take any pace you want, and there you are. Good. Take your TheraBand, or if you do not have a TheraBand handy, this is where you need your 2 cans of beans or whatever you have. Place the band right underneath your forefoot. We are going to be sitting up with long legs. You can have your knees slightly bent. You can also choose to have a cushion, anything underneath you. You're good. You want that? I think you're going to want that. Yeah. So key being that your legs are long. So if you have your TheraBand, you have it under your feet. If you do not have a TheraBand, you have your 2 cans. And the first thing you're going to do is curls up towards your shoulders and roll back down. So you're sitting tall, lifting up and over, and roll back down. And the key is that each time you roll up and over, your spine feels longer, and each time you're lowering your arms, your spine feels longer. There. And breathe. And a few more. Lift and lengthen. If you have a TheraBand, and also with the cans, go slowly in your reversal. And 2 more. And inhale, feel long. Make sure you're staying soft in the front of the hips. You're sitting on top of your sit bones. Good. And just the last time, up and over. And reverse. Good. Once you're here, bring your arms into the hug a tree, as if you're hugging a tree position. Good. So whether you have the band or whether you have the cans or whether you have a weight, and this time open and close. And again, feeling your shoulder blades approaching each other, feeling your shoulder blades gliding on the backside of your rib wall, feeling your spine, feeling tall, feeling supported from the front through as if the ribs are almost approaching each other in the front. The pelvis is approaching. You can also feel that the dimples, if you know where your dimples are on either side of the sacrum, that feeling of the dimples drawing together. So you're feeling that support along the back side of your body, along the front, through the center to the ceiling, there. And just one more. And reach back and long. And then pause for a moment. This time feel long again. Arms along your side. So if you have a band, allow it to be a little bit longer. So a little bit longer in your hands. And this time lengthening behind you. And bring it forward. And reach. And each time feeling as much up as you feel back. So lengthening to, yeah, that's it. Feeling that lift through the spine. There, and reach. And if it's hard, if it feels as if your spine ends up collapsing a little bit, bend your knees. Find a position where you can create length as opposed to compression in your spine. This is all about building tension in tissues, creating circulation in and around the bones, supporting bones. And 2 more. And the last. And pause. Good. Place your weight or your band to the side. Let's come right onto hands and knees. There you go. Just for a moment, give yourself a cat stretch again. Just a couple of cat stretches. And then walk your feet away. So you have a plank position here. Once you're there, feet are slightly apart. Send your tailbone towards the ceiling and let your body pivot. So you're lengthening your tailbone towards the ceiling into an inverted V. And then slowly lower yourself back. If this is a difficult position, you can do an imitation of this from the kneeling position. And lowering back. And the last time, pause at the top of this movement. Send one leg towards the ceiling and lower it back down. If you happen to be on hands and knees, send one leg long and lower it back down. And switch a couple more times, lengthening and lower. One more time with each leg. Extend and lower. And the last, extend and lower. Find your plank position. Good. Send your tailbone to the ceiling. Walk your feet towards your hands and slowly let your body roll up to standing. Good. Take a small step forward, sort of a half step forward. So say the right leg is in front. Good. Find a place where your weight feels as if it's right in between the 2 feet. So often we try to be all the way to the front or to the back, but see if you can find a place that's right. So you will be on your forefoot on your toe, so your toe on the back leg. And now bend your knees, or you're lowering the knee towards the floor and bring it back up. If you're comfortable, you can make it a little bit wider so that the hind femur, the back leg, points towards the floor and up. You can do this a little bit and press up. You can do it a little bit more to your own comfort. You can also try to challenge yourself going down and see if you can come down and dip. Make sure you are mindful of your knees and what you're comfortable doing. And a couple more times, press down and straight up, keeping your weight right in between the 2. And the last time. And press up, switch leg. Good. One leg, no, that's fine. One leg in front, one leg in back, up on the toes, on the forefoot, on the hind leg, finding a place that's right between the 2, and lowering as if your tailbone is reaching down, and pressing up. And again, feel free to do a little bit and press up. If all of these are not comfortable, if you're someone that this is not comfortable, balances, then you can stand and you can do a small squat just standing, just as long as we are engaging the whole leg, the hips, the knees, and come up. And one last time. And good. All right. Facing forward. Let your body stand for just a moment. A little bit of space between your feet. Sink into your legs just for a moment, as if you are sitting on a high chair. Bring both arms in front of you. And as you turn to one side, let the arm move to the back. Let it turn around the fulcrum of the elbow. Thumb glides to the ear. And then you turn to the opposite side. and turn. And in this moment, take a moment. You can have your eyes open, you can have your eyes closed, just allowing your body to move with ease, move with comfort. This should feel completely comfortable. It should feel as if you could do this all day. Every part of your body is participating, every cell, every tissue, every system. Noticing how your breath and your movement are following and supporting one another. Noticing how you're gently shifting your weight from one leg to the opposite leg, how your knee is gliding in the direction of the toes. How the movement happens from the inside out, so it spirals from the center upward into the rib cage, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist, and then you curl back and open to the opposite side. And just for a moment, once again, there's no perfect shape for you here and now. It's really about feeling really comfortable, allowing every part, and just being aware that for any efficient and safe movement, every part of your body participates. And just enjoy this movement for a moment longer. Just finding that ease. And the next time your right hand finishes the movement, slowly let both hands find your hips, lengthen your legs, stand for a moment, close your eyes once again, and sense your body as you're standing on the mat and the floor. Imagine the sense of roots reaching deep into the earth. Imagine the crown point reaching towards the ceiling. And imagine for a moment that you're breathing from the depths of the earth and you're allowing strength and nurture from the earth enter your body and flow to the heart. And when you're ready to exhale, let that energy continue upward, release through the crown point. And next time you breathe in, breathe from the sky or from the heavens above. Let the positive energy and air and oxygen enter through the crown point. Let it flow to your heart. And then gently release down through your body, through your legs, through your feet, into the earth. And for a few cycles, let the breath cycle through you, washing away tension that you meet on the way, bringing in new, fresh, positive energy to the areas that you have cleansed. And the next time you finish your breath cycle, pause for a moment, then slowly begin to open your eyes, allow the visuals and the light into your body, little at a time. And then begin to move your hands, move your feet. Get yourself ready for your Monday. Great job, everybody. Thank you for being here. Once again, we'll leave. Thank you to Peter. Thank you to Camilla for our support system here. I'll leave the chat open if you have any comments, any recommendations, anything that you'd like to say. Please come again. I hope to see you again. Tell your friends. Stay well, stay safe, stay home. And we'll see you very soon. Tomorrow is Tai Chi at 10, and this Friday, Pilates 1-2 at 10 o'clock again. So see you all soon. Bye now.